Hi, my name is Jeannie, and this is my podcast, Dreams to Reality. And I have a special guest. And without further ado, I would like to introduce her. Can you introduce yourself, ma'am?
Of course, yeah. Hi, Jeannie. Lovely to be with you. So my name is Melissa Ayres. I'm based in the UK, as you could probably tell. So I'm a menopause coach, a homeopath, and a theta healing practitioner. So I support women at all stages of menopause using natural healthcare. I've been a homeopath for around 15 years, so I use all of my tools of natural healthcare wisdom, combined with powerful intuitive healing. So essentially theta healing, as I'm sure we're going to talk about in this interview, Jeannie. I know you understand this really well. Our subconscious beliefs create our reality. So around menopause, by working on subconscious beliefs that don't serve us, I can help women to transition through this time with grace and ease and empowerment as well. It's an exciting time in our lives, working on this negative image of women's aging and menopause and all of these things, just by turning that around can make a huge difference in our lives as to how we experience menopause and that life chapter.
I know, yeah. That is, I have met healers before, and I have met theta healers before, and and I almost took that path as well, but not a lot of theta healers are focused on that just one area, which is menopause, perimenopause. But before we deal with that, or we talk about the menopause, what is theta healing to those that are not do not have any background on what theta healing is? Can you briefly explain it?
Of course, yeah. So theta healing was created by a lady called Vianna Steibel. And theta is a brainwave that we go into when we're in a very deep state of meditation or sleep. But it's also a brainwave where we connect back to source energy. So we are all energy, and we are all a divine spark of source energy, which is the energy of unconditional love, the energy of creation. So a theta healer, such as myself, we're able to go into the theta brainwave consciously very easily. And it's in that brainwave where we can change limiting thoughts, beliefs, subconscious, emotions, trauma. We can shift that very, very quickly because we're working with very high vibration energy. So in theta, we see subconscious beliefs coming up on 4 different levels. So the first level, and this is what comes up a lot when I work with women in menopause, is the core level. So that's everything that's happened to us in this lifetime, all the beliefs we've built up, in a child, past traumas, past experiences, societal conditioning, religious conditioning, educational, media, all of these beliefs that we build up. And quite a lot of that is, not of service to us. So we have the core level that we can work on. Then we have the genetic ancestral. This is also really interesting in the whole menopausal shift, because as women, we can carry beliefs, subconscious traits of ancestors I've worked with up to sort of 7 or 8 generations back. So if you think as women, when we are a fetus in our mother's wombs, we were also an egg in our grandmother's womb. So a bit like physical traits, we can carry energetic traits and beliefs too. So if, for example, your mother had a terrible menopause because her mother did, and the aunt, her sister did, and all of these things, then we're going to be carrying that unhelpful belief that this is going to be a difficult, challenging time in our lives. So again, in theta, we can shift stuff on the genetic level. Then we also have past life as well. It doesn't come up so much with menopause, but it does come up sometimes. And then we have the soul level, which is very deep work. When we're carrying unhelpful beliefs at the soul level, they can be quite limiting in our lives. So that's essentially how theta works. But a little like homeopathy, which is my other area of expertise, every woman's journey is entirely different. So no woman's journey through menopause and through their experience of theta healing will be very different too. So essentially, in that theta brainwave, when I work with someone, I would scan their body energetically. They would naturally come into that theta brainwave with me. We're able to identify limiting subconscious beliefs, things that aren't serving us. I'm showing what is blocking ultimate health and well-being, what's a priority, what's ready to shift. And then we kind of gently, we look at where that's come from, as I said, which are the levels it on, and we clear it. And then we can download positive, life affirming beliefs and feelings that we can download in order then that enables our energy to shift, and that shifts our physical reality.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I almost took that path, as I said, and it is sort of similar to the work that I do with hypnosis and superconscious recode, and also with pranic healing as well. But what led you to the path of just focusing on menopause and perimenopause, just that like certain niche, because that's very unique.
Yes, yeah. So I'll tell you my story actually, because that's what led me to this. So I've been as I said at the beginning, I've been a homeopath for around 15 years. Mainly worked with women. It is mainly women, as I'm sure you understand, that tend to go more for energy and alternative medicine. And I do a lot of work with hormones as well. So being a homeopath, I keep myself pretty healthy because I'm aware of all the things that affect good health, a healthy belief system that we just talked about, but also, exercise, hydration, good diet, love, being in nature, fresh air, all of these things are really important as well. So I like to walk the talk, being a healer and a homeopath. So I was about 47 years old, and as I said, living quite a healthy life. Things were good in my life at the time, and I was suddenly hit by these perimenopausal symptoms. So perimenopause, the average age of menopause is around 51, but women can start to experience symptoms sometimes up to 10 years before. So for me, at the age of 47, what happened was hot flushes, which were quite incredible because I'm always quite a chilly person. I'm always wrapped up, and suddenly to have this heat, which is like nothing I've ever felt before. Night sweats with that were disturbing my sleep. Migraines, never suffered with migraines before, really debilitating that I couldn't even do simple daily tasks. Get up and shower, for example. They were so debilitating. Irregular cycles, having had really regular cycles for many years, and bladder irritability as well, which was actually the other story of how I became a homeopath, was because I'd had chronic UTIs for years and years, and then I discovered homeopathy, complete cure within 3 months, and that's why I became a homeopath. So I've had all these perimenopausal symptoms come along, and I manage them with my tools. So, the supplements, herbs, mainly homeopathy as well. Some lifestyle changes too. For example, like I believe we are born, with all the hormones that we need to sustain us throughout old age. Nature doesn't get it wrong. So menopause is about more than, there's more going on than a hormonal shift. So when our stress hormones are very high, the body, that's our basic, survival, the fight or flight, it will prioritize the production of stress hormones over others. So if we're very stressed, body's designed, the adrenal glands are designed to pick up where estrogen is failing in the ovaries, because that's what's supposed to happen, because we're no longer going to be creating babies. If our stress levels are very high, then the adrenals aren't able to compensate for the estrogen that's declining in the ovaries at that time in our life. So stress has a big impact as well. So I was aware of this, that stress can cause a lot of these symptoms too. So I managed my symptoms naturally. But what didn't kind of go away was this sort of feeling of, I'm a bit young for this. I'm only 47. I've still got a good 3 or 4 years before, as the medical establishments say, average age is 50, 51. And what was really interesting as well is I'd been divorced for, I think, around 4 years, and I had started dating again. So this was really huge for me because I've been on my own for a long time. I have 2 children. I have my business. I'm quite happy in my life, and I wasn't really sure that I actually wanted anyone else in my life. And these perimenopausal symptoms, which was really interesting, is they coincided about 2 months after meeting someone that I was like, wow, this is someone I could actually spend the rest of my life with. This is a really special person. I didn't think that that would happen for me again. So what happened is this massive unsettlement going on. And actually, once I tapped in using Theta, because we can work with Theta on our own, as I'm sure you understand with all the lovely modalities you do as well, Jeannie, we can work on ourselves, is when I actually dug and got to the bottom of it, it was all these fears around a new relationship that was causing these symptoms. Yes, I am perimenopausal, but at the same time, you know, if we're balanced emotionally as well as physically, the body doesn't need to produce symptoms. The body produces symptoms to heal itself. So once I dealt with that fear and addressed all of that, yeah, everything, the symptoms then disappeared. And I didn't have, I have to say, a hot flush, a migraine. I still have irregular cycles because that's fine. My body's winding down now. In I think 2.5, 3 years. In fact, the last time I did have a hot flush was when I had some major stress in my life, and they returned again. So it was really, really interesting. So, in answer to your question, that was like a wake-up call for me. It was a way to combine theta healing and homeopathy together, that I can really help women to transition through this time. You know, non-medically, not every woman wants to have HRT. They perhaps can't have it because other things in family health history might contraindicate that, or they just don't feel it's right for them, or they want to have a conscious menopause. They want to sort of go through that in a more natural way. It's all with choice. But this enabled me to create my programs and help women with homeopathy and my natural health wisdom, but also to do the really deep emotional work that we need at this time, because the spiritual meaning of menopause, which is something I want to talk to you about, is we're going into a new chapter of life as women. So I believe we have 3 life stages. We have the maiden, sort of the virgin stage. Then we have the mother stage, which is, or the matriarch stage, where we are post-menarche, so we're having periods, we're creative. If we've not actually had families, we're creating things anyway in our lives in that time. And then we go into this final 3rd stage, which is the wise woman, the grandmother, also known as the crone. And when we get to that time, my belief is that all the previous trauma from those previous 2 life chapters that we haven't cleared is going to come up to heal, so that we don't carry this into this 3rd phase, which was actually when we're at our most powerful as women. I found your intuition really opens up, connection to self. There's a lot more that we have to give to the world. I think, you know, mainstream kind of writes us off as older women. That's very much in the West. Still one of the sort of societal things that sadly is a belief, and that menopause is a terrible, difficult time and women are on the decline and we're deficient. That's actually not the truth. We're going into this really powerful phase of womanhood. So that's where I felt that I need to be helping, is helping women to understand this. Okay, it's a transition. Transitions can be bumpy, but we can manage this naturally, and actually we can come through this into a really empowered and exciting phase of our lives.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's very educational too, because yeah, as women we never really think about phases, like that there's phases in our life. And you're right, like Western society does kind of write off like the older women, especially like you know, in mainstream media, like in Hollywood, like, oh, that actress is like old or getting old. But actually that you know, if you've heard about like successful women, especially in show business, like Meryl Streep, like Sandra Bullock, all the older women, they already have like a list of accomplishments like behind them, which sort of like elevates them. But ordinarily, like ordinary women, you know, sometimes it can be a struggle to be that like to reach that like peak. But I have a question about like the sessions, the number of sessions. Like, how many sessions does it typically take for, like, let's say a client comes in, and how many sessions do you guys go through before they experience like results from the process?
Well, as I said, every woman's journey is unique and will be different. But the way I've designed the program, it's 11 sessions. So the initial session is a much longer session. It's like a deep dive, so that I understand absolutely every aspect of a woman's health, her health journey, health history, her family health history, so that I have a complete and thorough understanding how best I can support her. This is the fundamental principle of homeopathy. It's we treat the individual. It's very bespoke medicine. It's not one size fits all. So the initial session is so that I really understand that woman and where I can best support her. And then the other 10 sessions are theta healing. And I found that that package of sessions works really well, but just one session of theta healing, people feel shifts very, very quickly. But it's the container that makes the difference, because we can go really, really deep. So I found that that works perfectly for most women. Other women will need more support, and some redo my program again. Or I do offer a mini, it's called the mini menopause boost. It's a little one-off session. If someone would just like a taster of theta healing, you get some homeopathic remedies or herbs included in that as well, so that they can just understand a bit more about the whole process. Sometimes theta is better experienced than it is explained, as I'm sure you'll understand with doing intuitive and energetic work, Jeannie. But yeah, I found that that was what I was guided by the universe to put together, was that package where I'm working with women. It's just shy of 3 months, and that does make a real impact in women's lives. It's quite incredible, and some of the changes women go through, it's not just that we suddenly manage their menopausal symptoms. It's that they might have changes in relationships. I've had women rediscover intimacy and passion with their husbands and partners after many years, because we've worked on beliefs around the body and self-image. Weight issues, that's been fascinating for me to deal with, the things that come up. People think it's all diet and exercise and limiting yourself and what you can eat and what you can't eat. And actually, if you're carrying subconscious beliefs, one lady I worked with, it was ancestral for her that her ancestors had gone through a time of famine. So for them, there was this energy that all food runs out. So as long as you're carrying that subconscious belief, it's going to be very, very hard to lose weight. There's also, in many generations gone by, the larger we were, that was symptomatic of wealth and status. Sometimes weight, especially around in menopause, we can gain weight around the pelvic region, so the lower belly, which is that protection of our womb, our sacral chakra. Sometimes that weight can literally be a protection, like emotional padding, if you like. So there's so many more reasons that we can work on. It's not just about changing hormones. It's a huge life shift, and actually we can, in that time, there's a lot of other changes can happen in someone's life, not just that they're managing their menopausal symptoms.
Yeah, that is very interesting. But how does theta healing work with the holistic healing, like the herbs you mentioned? Like, does it like after your session, do you give them like a list of things to take?
No, I supply all of the remedies. I make them myself. Yeah. So again, in homeopathy, the system of medicine that's been around for over 200 years, it predates conventional medicine. The fundamental principle is that like cures like. So we're very much working with the body's own healing system. So the way we view symptoms in homeopathy is that they're the body's way of healing itself. So a crude example of that would be fever, so raised body temperature. The body does that in order to burn off virus and bacteria. It enables our white blood cells, our natural killer cells, to work more effectively. So we don't look at symptoms as something detrimental or that something that's happened to us out of the blue. We look at that the body has produced it. So symptoms often have much more than a physical root. They have an emotional root as well. So that's where the theta comes in, because I can look at the emotional reasons as well as the physical as to why the body's producing these symptoms. So that's how the two work very nicely. They're very, very compatible together. So while we're doing the deep emotional work with the theta, the homeopathy is using the body's own healing systems in order to rebalance and heal itself. So it's helping the body to resolve that. But what's really interesting as well, and kind of ties in with theta, is where symptoms are can be indicative of what emotional trauma or stress needs to be healed. So for example, left-sided complaints are often to do with the future. Right-sided is often to do with the past. Issues with the bladder are often to do with old resentments, that energy of being pissed off. Pain can be stuck energy that's not shifting. Anything in the legs can often be to do with, we're not moving forwards in life. So we can manage these things and help them homeopathically, but by getting to the really deep roots of why they're there in the first place with theta, and to why the body is not going through what is a natural life stage, just like puberty, why it's not going through that easily, that enables me to get to the root of things. And I think, getting to the root is how we really heal things, rather than just suppressing or managing symptoms. We're really getting to the root, shifting them.
Yeah, that's right. That's part of the work that we do in hypnosis and super conscious recode as well. We always go to the root, like what's the reason why these things are presenting itself in the present moment. So I have a question. So with regards to your sessions, so you said there's 11 sessions. So do you work on Zoom with them or with your clients, or how does it usually a typical session like work?
It's all over Zoom. Yes, so that I can work with ladies anywhere in the world. And I work with, I've got some American clients at the moment, but I also do work with clients in the UK as well. But as I'm sure you understand, Jeannie, with energy healing, we can connect anywhere with anyone's energy. We don't need to be in the same room. So there's no benefit with theta to doing it in person. The lovely thing with homeopathy in person, because I still run a busy homeopathy practice, is that I can make the remedies up there, and then I do muscle testing kinesiology, so I can give someone their prescription. But with my program, it's all over Zoom, and I just send the remedies, herbs, whatever it is I want to give to that person, I send that out to them. So yeah, in answer to your question, it all works over Zoom. And the lovely thing as well is a woman is in the comfort of her own home. So I had one lady I worked with, the time it was for her where she was in the world was early evening. So she did all of her sessions in bed, because that's where she felt comfortable. Because it can be emotional, as I'm sure you know, with this work, and things can come up, uncomfortable emotions. And although I will never leave someone in that state, I will always make sure that they are emotionally grounded and that their emotional body is settled before we finish the session. It's just nicer to be in the comfort of your own home when you're doing a deep healing journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have any social media or websites that you can like mention to the viewers and the listeners of this podcast?
I do. So my website is melissajayres.com. So that's my name with my with J, my middle initial. You can also find me on Instagram at Melissa J. Ayres as well, where I share all sorts of tips and wisdom for balancing hormones naturally. I have a blog as well on my website called HRT Alternatives, which I've just started. And you can also find me on Facebook. I think I'm Melissa Homeopath on Facebook, but if you go to my website, all the links are there to find me. And I do have, probably the best way, if you want to learn more about me and my work, is I do a free masterclass called Managing Perimenopause and Menopause Naturally. It's 30 minutes, and that talk, I go much more in depth onto all of the things that happen to us physically and emotionally at menopause, and how we can manage that naturally, and turn that round into an empowering and exciting time of our lives. So that's probably the best way, if you want to learn more about what I do, is to tune into the free masterclass, and that's available on my website and all my social media as well.
Is there any way that the not the readers, but the listeners and the viewers can like email you and ask questions? Do you have like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So on my website, well, you'll find the free masterclass. I also have a contact page as well. And you're very welcome to email me any questions that you would like answered, or you can book a free call with me as well. I offer 30 minutes where you can have a chat and can see if my tools can be of a support. So yeah, that's all on the website.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of a master class or like just taster, like, to see what it's about, because sometimes you know we really find out if it is for you, if you start doing the process, and like it will just fit. Yeah, so I love that idea that you're offering like a free consultation, and like, yeah, sort of like to prepare the client as well what to expect. And yeah, that's great. Do you?
Yes, yeah. Choosing a therapist, whether it's a homeopath, a theta healer, a hypnotherapist, any kind of it's a personal thing, isn't it? And we have to feel connected in that we resonate with that person. I think we're very drawn. I'm a great believer that I will work with women that I can help. I'm a great believer in that, and that goes to my homeopathy clients as well. I've never had a case of anyone not get better. I think, we choose the person that we know can support us.
That's amazing. Do you have any other like last message before we conclude the interview?
Yeah, so my sort of departing message would be to any women who are struggling with symptoms, perimenopause, menopause, or even in their post-menopausal years. I do offer a program called Age Beautifully, where I support women who are feeling like they're little bit lost in those years post-menopause. What I would say is, it doesn't have to be that way. You can transform this and turn this around very easily. And not to believe the messages about aging and deficiency and decline. That's absolutely not the truth. We're going into a really powerful phase of our life as women. We've still got a lot to give and a lot to offer. And so yes, that's my parting wisdom, is not to be despondent about this time in our lives, but know that you can absolutely turn around your experience.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed this interview, and I learned a lot as well, because it's something that not is often discussed, especially with theta healing. Theta healing, like they focus on like other subjects, other topics, but this is literally like unique in a way that this is the first time that I've heard about someone really focusing on, the third phase of womanhood, which, unfortunately in our society we don't discuss that, because like there's so many like limiting beliefs about like women aging, and especially in Western society as well. And I'm really glad that you reached out to me, and this has really been educational, and I I really love this interview.
Oh, thank you, Jeannie. It's been so lovely talking to you. And yeah, I get so excited and passionate about talking about these things. And you're so right. Theta, we can use it for any aspect of our lives. And that was just my calling, is to support women at this time. And I love it. I absolutely love doing it, and I love talking about it. So yeah, thank you for having me on, Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you very much. And for those that are listening and or watching this podcast, Dreams to Reality, so I will link all of Melissa's bio on the show notes. So everything, her email, her socials, everything's going to be on the show notes. And thank you very much, Melissa, for gracing us with your presence in this interview.
Thank you, Jeannie. Lovely, lovely speaking with you.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.